Hey, guys! Today I will be pitching a fighting game roster, or should I say a crossover fighting game roster. Now, I've been a fan of fighting game rosters since Injustice, and then got a little more into like other fighting games like Marvel vs. Capcom when I first found out they crossovered because my dad gave me an old Marvel arcade machine, and and that's the only game I would play on there because I really love crossovers. And then I started getting into Mortal Kombat when I found out that they crossovered with DC. And that was where I made the idea of a crossover Roblox movie that will be coming out in late 2026 between Marvel, Capcom, DC, and Mortal Kombat. And I figured since I've been seeing other YouTubers online making videos about building a roster, well, some of them, but I really I really thought that it would be a fun topic, so I I'll be pitching a Marvel versus not Marvel versus a multiverse crossover fighting game. But first, I will have to say that make sure you leave a like and subscribe button. Now, let's really get into this. Fighting games have been really popular. It started off with Street Fighter, and then there are other fighting games that also that are also very popular, like Super Smash Bros, Tekken, SNK versus Capcom, Dragon Ball Z fighting game, and more. So, but honestly, my three main favorite fighting game franchises will have to be Injustice, Marvel vs. Capcom, and of course Mortal Kombat. And I started the first ever Mortal Kombat game that I started playing this summer was Mortal Kombat 11. But sadly, I never played the DLC expansion because I didn't have enough money, which I'm basically talking about Mortal Kombat Aftermath. But I did manage to see it online on YouTube. Thanks for MK Ice and Fire. But really, is that it would make sense to have a crossover fighting game. But and you know what also would be cool is that it would also have it would also be better than the multiverses game by WB. So beat that, WB. Not that I'm shaming you because you have one by you own the rights to my favorite my favorite comic book uh, franchise and my favorite video game franchise. But I started watching Mortal Kombat lore videos and learning more about the timeline and some uh, other But I think really is that it's really the best part about playing video games, you know. But yeah. But today I will be pitching a crossover fighting game. Since I've been seeing since I saw other videos of different topics of like building their own fighting game roster, I thought, why not do it myself as well? And I actually think it's also really cool since, fighting games are really that awesome. You know what I mean? But, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. But, but yeah, I'm sorry that my audio wasn't working. It's just being stupid right now. So I had to use this audio to edit it out. But anyways, let's just start getting into the gameplay. Before we start the gameplay, I would like to explain the title of the game, and the title will be called Multi Heroes Secret Wars. And yes, Doctor Doom will be the main villain, since I figured, the only way you can start crossovers is by a multiverse, right? And I figured since Marvel is doing adaptation of the comic, I thought it would be a cool idea where we get to have Doctor Doom as the main villain. But now let's talk about the game modes. So for the animation, I would have it be similar to Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 animation. I like the comic, smoother style animation, you know. So I just thought, why not having that fighting game? Although the Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was made like in the year that I was born in. So it would be a little harder to try to do that animation, but I think it could work. For the tag team system, yes, I'm going to be including the tag team system, but it would be different. So the tag team system will be kind of like in Fortnite, because like in Fortnite you can change it to solos, duos, trios, and squads. I'm always kind of like a fan of it, so I just thought, well, why not have the same thing for fighting games? And that's what I wanted. I wanted a fighting game roster, like different types of tag team modes. And for the game modes of the game, I would have it have we have to of course have story mode. Um I also want arcade modes. Um I would also want handicap, which if you don't know what handicap is, I'm not talking about like the parking spot things. It's this thing in WWE 2K 2K games where you get to have different types of like versus with the different types of tag team modes, like solo versus duos, solo versus trios, have that stuff. And I would also like to have tournament mode, but it would be similar to WWE WE2K games as well. And I would find that interesting. For the story mode, it will have 16 chapters with each characters, some being team up chapters. And for arcade mode, you can unlock skins from there, and you can also unlock character endings. For the customization, I would have it be similar to MK11, but also include the Injustice, where you get to also change color palettes. Except, instead of saving 5 variations, you actually will save 10 variations. So, if you want to have more than just 5 skins, you can actually do that. But, I'm also gonna be, I'm going to be now talking about the roster, which the best part about a fighting game is where you get to have rosters of your favorite characters. So, here it is. And if you're wondering what is the roster size of the of the fighting game, I'm gonna it would be 70. It would be, yeah. I know it's a lot, but I just thought it'd be a good idea because since it's a crossover fighting game, it makes sense. So there will be 30 on the hero side, 30 on the villain side, and there will be 10 DLC characters. At first, I don't want DLC characters because, well, it's a fighting game, but I realized there might be some characters other people would love to be in it. So here is my fighting game roster and who will be in it. Alright, we're going to be doing part 1, which is the heroes. So, there, like I said, there's 30 on the heroes, 30 on villain side. There's also 10 DLC characters. But for this part, it'll be 30, there'll be 30 heroes in there. But anyways, let's just do it. So, my first pick for this is Spider-Man. And of course, yeah, I know. Of course, I have to start off with Spider-Man. Like, I mean, not only is my favorite character, but he's also other people's favorite. He's the most powerful Marvel character in the universe, besides X-Men and Fantastic Four, and also other Marvel characters. But that's not the point. Spider-Man can have a similar, like, hyper combos as in every Marvel vs. Capcom games. He can also have the same similar things. Well, I meant similar mechanics to his counterpart in the Marvel vs. Capcom universe, except different because unlike the Marvel vs. Capcom games, you can also have a lot of skins from comics, movies, games, and shows. And I will be also talking about the skins in probably another video in another time. So, also, Spider-Man can definitely work in this crossover fighting game. Because if we have a crossover fighting game, and we also have to include Marvel characters, one of the Marvel characters that need to be in that fighting game will have to be Spider-Man. Because he is the face of Marvel. Let's not forget that. But anyways, number 2 is Batman. And Batman can definitely also work. He can have his similar super moves and same mechanics as in Injustice 2, but with similar style. Plus, Batman is also the face of DC, but at the same time, he's been having a lot of spotlight in every DC media because DC, well, of course, favors too much Batman, which a lot of people don't really have a problem with Batman, but we have to have other characters a shot besides Batman. But I also agree with that too. But we have DC characters in a fighting game. We also have to include Batman because he is the most popular characters in DC. So, speaking of Batman, speaking of DC, number 3 will be Superman. His recent movie that came out this year was absolutely fire. I still haven't seen the movie yet, but to me, even though I haven't seen it, I just think that James Gunn did well with Superman. And also, the fact that Superman, before the movie came out, had like a lot of his evil tropes, especially with Homelander, Omni-Man. Wait, but Omni-Man, hasn't been evil since season 1. But also his Injustice counterpart. But since we're gonna be almost done with that, I would say Superman will definitely be a hero in this game because the last time he wasn't was of course Injustice 2. But he's also the face of DC. No, not just DC, but every superhero fiction. So if you also have a fighting game with DC characters, you also have to include Superman. And his combos, his super move can be almost the same as Injustice, but a little different. And Superman, besides Batman and Spider-Man, is one of the most popular characters. So that's why I have these 3 as the first 3 characters in this game, because they're the big 3. They're basically the big 3 of every fiction of superheroes. You have Spider-Man, the face of Marvel, Batman, the face of DC, and you have Superman, the face of superhero media. So if anything, Superman deserves to be in the game, but also as a hero. Number 4 is Invincible. Okay, I'm sorry. But I just would love to see Invincible in the fighting game other than Invincible Versus. Although Omni-Man is also in here, it would be really cool if Invincible was in another fighting game besides Invincible Versus. And also Mortal Kombat 1 if you count Omni-Man. But Invincible's attacks and all that stuff can be a little bit of similar to Superman, but advance of it. The reason why that I don't have Invincible as a premier skin for Superman, because one, his powers is way different than Superman. Even though he can fly and stuff, he doesn't have laser vision. Or not really. Okay, I'll stop. But yeah. And second, there will be no premier skins in this fighting game. All of the characters will be a separate skins of the fighting game. So, also, Invincible as a fighting game character is definitely cool. But you know what's also cool about it is that since Invincible is having his own fighting game, I would imagine him being also as a DLC character in the future Mortal Kombat or Injustice games. But to me, I would say he fits more in Mortal Kombat. I know. It would be cool if he was in Injustice 3. But, let's face it, Invincible has a lot of more gore, I would say. Although Invincible doesn't really kill, we can't forget that he literally kills Conquest and Angstrom. But they're basically still not dead. So we basically do not know what the first character he has ever killed. But I just think he would be perfect for this fighting game. And I'll be also including other Image Comics character. Number 5, Mega Man X. And I'll just have to say this. Mega Man X is better than the original Mega Man. Fun fact, my original idea for the crossover or upcoming crossover movie with Marvel, Capcom, DC, and Mortal Kombat was that I wanted to include the original version of Mega Man, but when I saw him in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, yeah, I would say he's honestly the better version of Mega Man than the original, which is why I'm having him in this fighting game. So he can have like some of his combos being different than Marvel vs. Capcom by keeping it fresh as well. So honestly, he can definitely work in the fighting game, especially Marvel vs. Capcom has proven it. And plus, I basically like the X-Buster, which is kind of like a Transformer robot cannon and stuff, but a little more fun. And honestly, I think this would be perfect. He can also have a lot of intros and victory poses, which I kind of forgot to include when I mentioned before I'm talking about the roster. But his intros and victory poses would be sick, if you know what I mean. But number 6, we have to have Sub-Zero. If we have a fighting game that's also a crossover, you gotta have Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero is one of the most popular Mortal Kombat characters. Although he's not really much of my favorite, he's really cool, to be honest. I'm basically talking about the Kuai Liang Sub-Zero. And honestly, Sub-Zero could have a lot better ice attacks. Although his role in MK11 was really good for me. He didn't really had much screen time, especially in Aftermath, which the last time we saw him in Aftermath, he faced Fujin. Although we did have Kuai Liang in MK1, but he was Scorpion. But, which actually a fun fact, I thought Scorpion in MK11 was Kuai Liang because... Sorry, I had to do something. But I honestly thought he was a Scorpion in MK11 because during that time I didn't really know a lot about Mortal Kombat because I wasn't really in my Mortal Kombat phase at the time until I basically found out in a Mortal Kombat lore video that the reason why Kuai Liang was Scorpion in MK1 was due to the timeline in Mortal Kombat 1 being Liu Kang's. Which honestly also sucks because since we have Kuai Liang as Scorpion, that means no one else can be Sub-Zero. And spoiler alert, in MK1 Chaos Reigns, Bi-Han died again and become Noob Saibot. Except we don't know who's gonna be Sub-Zero because basically that was the only Sub-Zero we had. Plus, I'm not sure if Hanzo Hasashi is gonna be in a Sub-Zero because in Smoke's ending, which MK1 endings are actually in fact canon, he basically adopted Hanzo Hasashi along with Kuai Liang. And he didn't really had ice powers. He had the same powers as before, which honestly really does suck. So I'm not sure if it will be an original character, like someone new in later MK games or what, or Liu Kang might fix Noob Saibot and have him Sub-Zero again, but Noob Saibot and Sector's ending explains that. But back to the topic, I would love to have Sub-Zero to work in this fighting game. And he can also like reference the time where he actually where other DC characters he actually met when they faced Darkon in MK versus DC. So, but also what would be even better is that Kuai Liang is Sub-Zero instead of him as Scorpion in the recent Mortal Kombat game. So, honestly, I can find this as perfect. And He can also forge an ice weapons other than an axe, as in MK11. So yeah. Number 7, speaking of Mortal Kombat characters, we have Raiden. And his lightning attacks and all that stuff can be definitely just original in this game, since, well, not a lot of characters will have their similar moves from their previous fighting games. But since we have some Mortal Kombat characters in this crossover fighting game, you would have to include Raiden, since he's also the god of thunder, and in if we and it would be also be really funny if one of the Marvel characters, like in the intro dialogues, reference that they also have a god of thunder in their world, which basically is Thor. I honestly would love it, but I would think I would like to have Deadpool reference it, since he basically breaks the fourth wall. So yeah. But anyways, number 8 will be Hulk. I really would like to have Hulk be respected in this game as Savage Hulk. Honestly, a lot of people were basically complaining about Hulk, well, not being Savage Hulk anymore, because the last time he was Savage was at the beginning of Avengers Infinity War. So this version of Hulk will be perfect Savage Rage Hulk. And trust me when I say this, I think that he would also have like a Solomon Grundy like custom skin, not like a premiere skin, but like a skin to reference Solomon Grundy, since Hulk and Solomon Grundy are almost like kind of similar. But in all fun here, I would definitely would love to have Hulk in this game, because since we have Spider-Man, we can also include Hulk, because they're two best friends in the comics. Number 9 is Wonder Woman. You can't have the DC Trinity without Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is the popular female superheroes, though she wasn't really that perfect in the Injustice games. But this version is really the heroic version, which, of course, we all know that. And honestly, Wonder Woman is also getting a DCU movie by, I don't know if James Gunn's working on it, but honestly, this would be perfect. Wonder Woman deserves the respect she deserved, which means we might be getting new Wonder Woman content soon. But the next character will be Dante from Devil May Cry. I actually really enjoy Dante in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. The first time I ever saw him was basically a video where he dances like Michael Jackson. And I basically found out a lot more of Dante, and he is really more than just a Michael Jackson copycat, even though he only danced to Michael Jackson in DMC5. But I would say that Dante is probably one of my favorite Capcom characters. I really liked his fighting moves in DMC4, which is DMC Infinite. No, I meant Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, not DMC 4. But yeah, I just really enjoy his character for the most part. And he can also have his Devil Trigger form, like there's this mode where you can activate it, and then he becomes his Devil Trigger form. Which honestly, I actually really like. I honestly would love to have that if there was a crossover fighting game, which I'm pitching right now. But number 11, we have Liu Kang. Liu Kang has to be one of the best fighting game characters, though Mortal Kombat is really terrible with the character, but his role in the Mortal Kombat universe is actually really good, you know, and he can also have like a skin of the Fire God Liu Kang, and also his skin in Mortal Kombat 1. Even though, well, Mortal Kombat 1 isn't really a perfect game. But I would have him as his mortal version. Don't get me wrong, I liked his version in Mortal Kombat 1. It actually gets to mentors Raiden. But honestly, his timeline has a few flaws in the game, especially with Kuai Liang Scorpion. But I could say he actually, his fire attacks, all of it, can definitely be work in a fighting game like this. And since Raiden and Sub-Zero is in the game, I would like to have him as well. And you can also have use his fire attacks in his super move. I would also honestly have him in Injustice 3 if it happens. But we'll be moving on to number 12. Number 12 has one of my favorite Mortal Kombat characters, and that is Kung Lao. I started having him as my favorite character in MK11. I really loved his human counterpart in the game. And his personality is actually really good. Although his personality does remain the same in Mortal Kombat 1, that doesn't mean he's not really a bad character, except he has been done dirty by the writers in Mortal Kombat because he has died 7 times. And not just that, in intros in MK11, he really gets compared a lot to Liu Kang. And honestly, these characters are really disrespecting him, man. His hat attacks can be like similar to Captain America's. But number 13, I would have to have Ryu. Which honestly is a good choice. Ryu in Street Fighter is absolutely the best characters. He's basically kind of similar to Liu Kang, but has a bigger role, or so I think. I would say Ryu is that kind of guy to be in the game. Plus, he's also a fighting game legend. So you can't have Street Fighter without Ryu, because then they'll basically be then fans would probably get mad. But number 14, since Ryu is in here, we can also have Chun-Li. And honestly, I would say, for my opinion, she's basically Street Fighter's Katana, but different at the same time, since, well, I'm not really sure if she's immortal. But her character in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, she hasn't really gotten like a lot of character development, which she hasn't had a lot of screen time. But she basically was perfect in that role. So I would like to have her in the game. Number 15, I'm gonna have the Flash. And yes, you can see in the picture that it's not Barry Allen. No, it's Wally West. Honestly, though, Barry Allen is my favorite. Wally West is also my favorite. And it would be time to like move on from Barry and to have Wally in the game. And he's not only the most powerful characters in DC, he's also the most powerful characters in fiction. And that says a lot with his edits and his power scale in the comics. He even has Dr. Manhattan's powers by sitting on a Mobius chair. And he can also have that skin in that game as well. A lot of his attacks would definitely have a similar to Injustice too, except for the super move. But honestly, he really does would fit the role in the story. Number 16, Katana. I also have to include Katana since she's the most popular female characters in Mortal Kombat, though her first appearance was in Mortal Kombat 2. But she's basically loved by the fans in the fan base, which is why I chose to have her in the game if that ever really does happen. But anyways, number 17, is Sonic. And yes. But you guys are probably thinking, oh, Sonic's too short for this game. Be quiet. Here's the reason why Sonic can work. Because he's been in a fighting game like Smash Bros. Plus, if Mega Man X is a short character in Marvel vs. Capcom and can still work, he can definitely work in a fighting game besides Smash Brothers as well. A lot of his speed attacks, though, are similar to the Flash, but let's not face it, he's more than just the Flash. You know, he is his own character from Sega, and he basically fits for this fighting game. Number 18, Mario. If anything, Mario deserves to also be in this, since he definitely can also work in a fighting game besides Smash. But I won't go more into it. But I would say he can also share like his super mode along with Sonic. But number 19, we have my favorite cartoon character, Ben 10. And honestly, I would like to have him have his own chapter as the final chapter in the story mode, in where he also beats Doctor Doom, which I think is absolutely great. I I I would also like to have him in Injustice 3 as well, if that ever does happen. But I think Ben 10 deserves to be in this fighting game. It would be his first time having to be in a fighting game along with Invincible, even though Invincible's already getting his own fighting game. But number 20, Shazam. Shazam can have a lot of his lightning attacks similar to Raiden in the game, which I won't go through, like I said. Number 21, Spawn. His DLC character in MK11, or should I say guest character, I honestly love. And his intros in MK11 are really that savage, which I would honestly have to put his intro dialogues in the description. But I would also love to have him in like the fighting game of his role in the story. And he can also have his classic appearance, as you saw in the picture. So, number 22, we have Tech Jacket. And yeah, I'm actually starting to add Image Comics characters in here because I would really love to have them have a chance in a fighting game. And I like his cameo appearance in the Invincible episode where he faces off one of the variants. But he also faced, which he actually did in the comics, but that was a different Marka variant. I can't wait to have to see his role in season 4. because season 4 of Invincible is definitely going to be crazy. Number 23, Radiant Black. And I honestly love his character, which is also cool because I'm having him in Roblox Zombie Invasion. And this would be a perfect idea to have him in a fighting game. His moves can be a little similar to Nova. Number 24. I know you heard me say his name in the middle of the video, but I'm also gonna have to include him, which is the Merc with the Mouth himself, Deadpool. Now the first and last time he was in a fighting game was Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. But guess what? That was his only fighting game appearance, because he never really comes back again because there are no X-Men or Fantastic Four characters in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. But I hope for the 5th game that they would include those characters back in the game. Honestly, even though I never played Marvel vs. Capcom 3 or other games except for the first game, I would definitely really like to have Deadpool return in a fighting game again. And if I have to, I would have to have him in this. And now we have number 25 with Wolverine. And the last time he was in Marvel vs. Capcom is the same as Deadpool, except, well, he appeared in other 2 Marvel vs. Capcom games, but except for Infinite. But I would honestly love to have him return. And you're probably wondering why I don't count Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Game Collection. Well, that is because that has all the games of the... Well, it has all the old fighting games. But, number 26, we have Iron Man. We're also gonna have to have an Avenger character in here. I know I'm not really adding a lot of X-Men characters, but but at the end of the day, at least it's my roster. But at least I have Deadpool and Wolverine, and also Hulk. But I really like his gameplay in Marvel vs. Capcom, and also in Marvel Superheroes, because that was his first ever fighting game appearance. And he'll still have some of his, well, same moves in the game. But on to number 27, we have the Hero Liberty himself, Captain America, leader of the Avengers. And I know it's not Sam Wilson, I'm sorry. But I really do like his gameplay and his role in the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Number 28, Miles Morales. Never in his life that he has ever appeared in Marvel vs. Capcom, which I honestly do understand why, because He wasn't created until my birth year, of course, 2011. But if they ever do make a fifth Marvel vs. Capcom game, please have him as in there, because he can have some same moves as Spider-Man, but also has his invisibility attacks and electricity attacks as well. Number 29, we have Robin. And yes, you can see that's Tim Drake. And the reason why I chose Tim Drake. Why Tim Drake? Well, first, he's one of my favorite Robins. Second, he never really gets much character development that he used to in the old days. Because ever since DC made him bisexual, which nothing that I have nothing wrong with, because I do support that. But a lot of fans just are mad that he was just made that way and never get a lot of screen time that he used to. Plus, he has basically been sidelined out of all the Robins. So, honestly, we'll just have to leave out Nightwing, Red. I'll just have to leave out Damian Wayne and have him have his own chance in a fighting game. And the 30 and final, the hero character, we have Superboy. And yes, this is Connor Kent. I really liked him in both Young Justice and DC animated movie universe. And although it would be really cool to have John Kent, but same for Tim Drake. It would be cool to have his own time to shine again. But now we are on to part 2. Alright, we are on to villains now. Number 31, we have The Spot. And no, I don't have Green Goblin in here. Since this is going to be a crossover fighting game, and since this is based off of Marvel's Secret Wars in 2015, it would make sense to have some multiverse villains in here. And I decided to go through that route, starting off with Spot. Now, I first saw him as a kid in the 1994 Spider-Man series when I basically watched it on Disney Plus. I didn't really think much of him until Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse actually made him better. And I honestly love his some of his funny moments, you know. I can't really wait to see his role in Beyond the Spider-Verse. So, honestly, I would have to thank Marvel for doing a lot better with Spot in Across the Spider-Verse. But number 32, and yep, Batman Beyond. No, I'm just joking, not Batman Beyond, because he's not a villain. But I'm gonna have Batman Who Laughs. And yeah, I know, he's now the Darkest Knight in the comic, but I prefer him in his normal form. You know, Batman. If you don't know, Batman Who Laughs is, in the comics, he was a version of Batman that got infected by a toxic, by the Joker toxic, and basically became Batman Who Laughs. And he honestly killed a lot of DC characters in his own universe, which is honestly crazy. And he also returned because of, well, Fortnite. But I gotta say, I would like to have him in his role in the fighting game. But now we're going to move on number 33, and we have Brainiac. Now I know you're probably wondering why not include Superboy Prime. Well, honestly, we already might have enough powerful villains in the game, because Superboy Prime in the comics wipes the floor with everyone. Well, except for the Flash. But also, I like his role in Injustice 2, and I would like to have him return again. Number 34, Angstrom Levy. He is, honestly, he is also kind of like Reverse Flash, basically a hater to Invincible. But Reverse Flash beats everyone as being the most hater in the comics. No one can top him. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. How is Lex Luthor not in the top of him being a hater? Well, he just ain't Reverse Flash. But that's not who we're talking about. I honestly knew he was going to be in season 2 of Invincible when I was a kid, because when the Amazon Prime series came out, I actually learned more of the Invincible universe in the comics. So I honestly would love to also have him in the fighting game as well. Number 35, I would have to say Sigma. No, not that one. I'm talking about the character from Mega Man X. And I first heard about him back last year in Ransom, where I heard my friend say his name, and I thought he was referring to a brain rot, but he was referring to the character. And then I learned more about that character because he actually fused with Ultron in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Which, speaking of which, it is that Ultron Sigma will be one of the main villains in the crossover between Marvel, Capcom, DC, and Mortal Kombat. But that's not what we're gonna talk about. So, Sigma's attacks can have a little bit similar to Brainiac mixed with Ultron, but better. Number 36. Yep, Scorpion. Get over here! And honestly, you can't have Sub-Zero without Scorpion, because that's the rule. Every Mortal Kombat game needs Scorpion. The only game that didn't include Scorpion was Mortal Kombat 3, which a lot of fans were mad that they had to make the ultimate version of it, except including Scorpion. But his ending in the arcade was not canon because he was not in Mortal Kombat 3. And NetherRealm Studios never dares to leave Scorpion out, because if they do, a lot of fans would start being mad. But yes, you can't have Sub-Zero without Scorpion because they're known for having their rivals. Although they later become friends in the later games, I would have to say this is the best rivalry in the Mortal Kombat universe. Number 37, we have Shao Kahn. Yes, Shao Kahn is in this because honestly, he has to be one of the best Mortal Kombat villains in video game history. You know. But number 38, I would have to include Mastro. And no, I'm not including Abomination because, like I said, I'm going to a multiverse villain route. But if you're wondering, who is Mastro? Well, Mastro is an evil version of Hulk in the comics that actually kills every Avengers. So honestly, I would have to include him in that game. And honestly, he is really awesome. Number 39, we have Ares. I'm just adding him because he's also a Wonder Woman villain. Number 40. Yep. He is the storm that is approaching. Yep. Virgil. Honestly, he is basically more interesting because at first I thought he was like a hero, but I realized he actually became an anti-hero in Devil May Cry 5. But was the villain first in the final boss fight. But honestly, Virgil is Dante's brother, but evil. And I really love his song Bury the Light. And it's his theme song in Devil May Cry 5, which sadly I won't play the song because it's copyright. But honestly, I would love to have his Judgment cuts. And same for Deadpool. His only fighting game appearance was in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And yet never returns again in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. But I would love to have him in Marvel vs. Capcom 5. Number 41 is Shang Tsung. Your soul is mine. Since we're having both Shao Kahn and Scorpion, I would like to have Shang Tsung since Liu Kang is also in this fighting game. Number 42. Wait, is that 42 or 43? I'm not sure. I'll have to recheck my video. Okay, it's number 42. But yeah, number 42 we have Quan Chi. Yes, now we have the completed Deadly Alliance against Liu Kang and Kung Lao. Number 43, I have M. Bison. He is the main villain in most Street Fighter games. Or is that what I think? But he's obviously the best villains in Street Fighter. Number 44, I have Jurihan, which I don't know really a lot about the character that much, so I'm gonna skip. Number 45, I have Zoom, not Reverse Flash, Zoom. I liked his villain appearance in season 2. He was obviously the best main villains. And I would like to see him fight Wally, since they're known for having their rivalry dynamic in the comics. Number 46 is Melina. When they killed her off by Devora and MKX, a lot of people were very mad that they had to include her as a DLC character in Mortal Kombat 11. Although I don't like the character as much in a lot of games due to her, well, teeth. But since she's also the most popular character, and since she's known to, oh, sorry about that, but since she's known for having her rivalry with Katana, I guess I can just have her here. By the way, I'm not shaming looks or anything, just don't like the character design. Number 47 is Dr. Eggman. Since Sonic is in there, I would like to also include him in this game. Number 48 is Bowser. You have to, of course, have him in there since Mario is also here. Number 49 is, of course, the main villain of the game, Dr. Doom. And the reason why is because his rivalry will be with Ben 10 since they're powerful characters. Number 50 is Black Adam. You have to have him. He's one of the best Shazam villains. Number 51, Violator. Though Violator wasn't really a playable character other than like him being a severed head that Spawn collects in one of his intro poses. But I gotta say, since he is also in there, I would very much love to have him. Number 52 and 53 are Ketchup and Mustard themselves, or Ketchup and Mustard, Sector and Cyrax. Both of them are the very best cyborg ninjas. Their first appearance was in Mortal Kombat 3, which also some people don't like because, well, Scorpion is in here. They don't really they've appeared in most games and yet somehow have a lot of fans to enjoy. Number 54 is Number 54 is, of course, Dreadpool. And now I know you're probably thinking, well, why does Dreadpool look like um the X-Force Deadpool? Well, because when I search him up, I don't even know if it's really Deadpool or Dreadpool because they basically look the same when I searched him up on Google. But he is one of the alternate Deadpool to first ever kill the Marvel universe because mm, because if you don't know, there's this comic series that's popular by fans called Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, where a alternate version of Deadpool, Dreadpool, kills Marvel characters. Number 55, Sabretooth. Wolverine and Sabretooth really do have the best rivalry in Marvel history. Number 57. I'm at number 56. We have Ultron. Since both Sigma and Ultron are separate characters in this game rather than mashups, I just thought, well, since Iron Man's in the game, at first I wanted to include Ultron Sigma, but and also Infinity Ultron, which I was meaning to say, but I accidentally said Ultron Sigma. But it's the same reason as why I didn't include Superboy Prime. I just figured we have enough powerful multiverse heroes. Number 57, we have Red Skull. It's because, well, Captain America is also near, so I won't explain. Number 58 is Morlun. Honestly, honestly, the best Spider-Man villain, but way worse than the Sinister Six, which I will cover a topic about it in the next video. I just thought of including him since, well, we're adding multiverse heroes. But, number 59, we have Red Skull. I meant Red X. I'm sorry, guys. Honestly, when I first saw him in Teen Titans Go, and yeah, I'm talking about the show that some people don't like, but I like his role better in the original Teen Titans cartoon. Because the fact that Robin used to have that mental before, well, someone else took it is absolutely crazy. And finally, for number 60, we have Bizarro. I really like Bizarro. I just thought it would be a good idea if we have a Superman clone versus Superman clone. You know what I mean? But honestly, I don't think Bizarro is honestly a villain anymore in DC Comics since he's teaming up with Red Hood. But he's still a Superman villain at the end of the day. But now it's time to include DLC characters. Honestly, I think I think I've been talking a lot in this video. But it's honestly worth it since this is really a fun topic. But it's time for DLC characters. Number 61, we have Nightwing. You thought I was gonna leave out Nightwing fully completely? No. Although he won't be in the story, at least he will be at least he's just gonna be a DLC character. The reason why I just have Tim Drake as Robin is to give him a better a better chance of having his own time to shine. Which I hope for James Gunn to give him more screen time, Robin or not. But we're gonna be talking about Nightwing here. And his main skin is, of course, going to be the new 52. But number 62, we have Nova. And this is Sam Alexander. When I first saw him in Ultimate Spider-Man, I really do like the character. And I love how he has like a friendly rivalry in the cartoon. Which I found out more that the first ever Nova was Richard Rider. But honestly, Sam Alexander is better for me. But number 63, we have Green Lantern. And yes, this is John Stewart. Since, well, since he will be in the Lantern show along with Hal Jordan, but I just figured that since he's the more popular Green Lantern, it would make sense to also have him in there. And he can also have like a fun intro dialogues with Nova, since they're both similar in some ways. But number 54, we have the Fantastic Four.
Say that again?
I hope that this video doesn't get copyrighted if I use them, because I'm just using them as sound effects. And well, sound effects doesn't really copyright my videos, so I would be alright with that. But the reason why I'm having Fantastic Four as like a one character slot is because they can definitely work the same way as TMNT and Injustice 2, where you get to switch to other characters like Mr. Fantastic, Johnny Storm, Invisible Woman, and The Thing. And since Doctor Doom is in the game as the main villain, it would make sense to have them in there. Although sadly I had to leave them out. But hey, I brought them back as DLC characters. Number 65, I have Uzi Dorman. And yes, I'm having a web series character in a fighting game, since Murder Drones is getting a lot more popular. Sorry if my notification bothered, but but I think that since Murder Drones is really getting more popular, especially that their show is on Prime Video, I say we can have Uzi Dorman in a fighting game, which would be really fun. Really be fun. But number 66 is Nightwolf. Since I like his role in the MK11 Aftermath expansion, I gotta say, he's honestly a really cool character. Since he's known for being like a wise shaman. But number 67 is Jason Voorhees. And yeah, I'll be adding a few Halloween characters in there to promote Halloween stuff. Even though it's past Halloween. But I just thought it would be fun at the same time. But number 68, we have Michael Myers. He is the first ever like a rated R horror character, and honestly, he has never been into a fighting game. Honestly, but I think it would be really cool if he was also a DLC character. A guest character in the later Mortal Kombat games, since we have Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Leatherface, and Ghostface as guest characters. It would be fun as well. Which, speaking of Freddy Krueger, number 69 is Freddy Krueger. And you know, the fun part is that he can also have intro dialogues with Wolverine, and maybe not like liking each other, since well they also have claws. Although he was very controversial as an MK9 guest character when he had the model of the rebooted Nightmare on Elm Street game, which I honestly never I meant movie, which honestly I never really knew about until I saw it on HBO Max. Even though I haven't really seen the movie, I'm thinking of watching it. And finally, number 70 is Deathstroke. And I just thought, well, since Nightwing is in there, I just thought it would be also cool to have him in here. But that is it for this video. I honestly haven't really been posting that much for a while, which the last video I posted the first look of Red Robin, and it was like 3 weeks ago. But I'm still posting I'll still post videos. And you also probably saw that I basically deleted my my new versus edit short that I made, even though I just returned doing it, which I will also explain in another video after my two main topics in the next two videos, which I'll be posting a few videos this month. But like I said, I'll still be posting. It's just that, well, since I'm in school, I just don't really think I really have time for it. Especially, well, this is my first year in high school. But like I said, I'll still be posting videos. But anyways, see you next time. Peace.